Good morning, LinkedIn. Welcome to Let's Build Daily. I'm your host, Chris Carolin. Taking a step back a little bit today after an exciting week of World Certification Week. Had a few guests on, back to kind of doing my own thing this week. And before I started building stuff again, getting back to our demo data set, it's so easy to just start doing stuff in tools like HubSpot. It can make it hard to explain, the true value of what's happening, why it needs to be done, who needs to be doing it, how many people need to be doing it, what kind of focus is needed on it. And there's always been this disconnect, at least for me, as I was brought into organizations and now even speak with leaders about these really, I don't even want to call them ambiguous concepts like digital transformation or customer experience, because they really shouldn't be ambiguous. But apparently they're hard to understand from the perspective of what it takes to actually do it and do it successfully. So I have a slide up here. So maybe a little death by slides today. But I brought this up because no matter who I've talked to, whether it's leaders, people inside the HubSpot ecosystem, people outside, team members, prospects, clients, there's always something on this slide that resonates. And often it's the whole slide, right? So I made this a few years ago when trying to kind of encapsulate and simplify this whole thing that people are having to do, and I've really been forced on them since COVID started. And it starts with the concept, I learned from the Ask You Answer and Marcus Sheridan about, being the number one resource in this effort to stay always relevant, top of mind, not feel like you're constantly like just taking a foghorn, to the market. Like if you can plant yourself in people's minds as that go-to resource for that thing that they might have a question about, then you've done that. You don't need to constantly be putting out ads, doing outbound just to make sure you're top of mind. You've proven your ability to be a trusted source of information. And, conceptually, it can be hard to understand that it doesn't have to be so product specific. Often it can't be, because a lot of things go beyond your product in order for them to be successful with it. And we talked about a lot of that last week during HubSpot's Academy Week. Like, as an example, they have lots of software certifications specific to the tool, but then there's conceptual certifications like revenue operations and sales enablement and all these things you need to know how to do to use the product effectively, right? So in that case, there is an avenue towards being the best partner for the people that you're serving. So not just with the product type, but anybody that you might work with on a daily basis. Like if I have all these, vendors or partners, suppliers that I'm working with, and I always have the best experience with you, then you are the best partner, no matter, like, in the world of all the partners that I'm working with, right? So that's another level of saying, like, and that's when you get to the point where whatever you're selling, so in this case, whatever HubSpot, comes up with, right? Because they've cemented themselves as the best partner, I have to do things that I want to do to help people, make money and transform their businesses. I know when they come out with things like Content Hub, I'm on board right away. Like they don't have to sell me on the fact that that's going to be valuable for me and the people I'm trying to help. And that comes from being the best partner overall. So, uh, how do you do this? Right? Again, simple concepts, hard to execute. You have to make it easy. You have to make it easy to do business with you. You have to make it easy to be successful with you. Right? And do business with, be successful with. It's very easy to um, hmm, boil this down to like paid versus not paid. But I'm starting to think of, you know, the customer relationship actually starts whenever there's an exchange of value. That value does not have to be money. Um, it could be as simple as an email address, right? And if you think of the customer experience starting at that point, like, is it easy for me to join the webinar? Is it easy for me to be on the webinar? Is it easy for me to engage with the webinar? Is it easy for me to watch the recording? Do I have to ask if there's going to be a recording, or did you already address that through your habits or through your announcements? Right? All of these things relate to this experience where it's anytime I have to ask or anytime I'm uncertain, that creates friction, in the experience. Now, there is such a good thing as good friction. So it's not, friction free everything. But when we're talking about making it easy, if I have to buy $100 part, you know, every 3 months, and every time I got to buy it, I got to go through some paper based process, and I can't just buy it online. I can't subscribe. I can't set up auto payments, even though it's guaranteed I have to buy it every 3 months. That's not making it to be easy. That's not making it easy to do business with you. That's not making it easy to give you money. Um, it's also in the case of ongoing maintenance and making sure products are up to speed. If that's on me to do that every 3 months, I'm less likely to do it every 3 months. And if I miss a day, maybe the thing breaks. Maybe the equipment breaks. Now it's not as easy as it could be to be successful with the products. And the approach I've seen too many take is that it's their responsibility. Of course it is. That doesn't mean they're not gonna, assign you some of the responsibility too when you make it so difficult for them to use the product, right? And to maintain it. Especially if they've purchased a maintenance contract. They should not have to call and remind you that they are in a contract and ask when the next scheduled date is and remind you that they are due 1 or 2 or however many are in the contract. Stuff like this is table stakes if you expect to get recurring value through trusted relationships with customers. Right? So in general, making it easy to do business with you, aka give you money, or exchange value, and making it easy to be successful with that time, effort, money, whatever I'm giving you. I want to be successful with that investment. Easy to understand why, if you can accomplish that, you will have a successful business. Very difficult to understand what it takes to resource that. And so on the right here, We've got revenue technology stack. Again, this is a very simplified breakdown. For our clients, it's largely going to be based in HubSpot and an ERP of some sort. An accessible Academy resource. I won't go into detail here, but just hands down, if there's any kind of instruction needed, then on-demand how-to content is far and away the best way to market your products. Talked a lot about my HubSpot journey, starting with the free academy. It is a non-sales focused way to put your people, your expertise, and your products and services on display while helping them do their job. Value-added products with an online store. Not every business hits here, but really there's lots of opportunity for additional things you probably could be selling through an online store. Even like all the consulting that you do for free during the sales process, you might be able to get 1 or 2 hours paid for. And if they could just sign up, schedule through a calendar link, and then pay while they do that, it says online store here for the specific use cases I'm usually targeting, but really we're talking about online transactions and transactability. All of this rolls into a trusted online experience, which includes showing up on LinkedIn, showing up wherever you say you're going to show up, and having consistent behavior and meeting consistent expectations with the rest of, their experience. All of this stems from, and this is where, again, I love it when Marcus Sheridan, when he's talking about the ask you answer, talks about the concept of, we're different. It doesn't apply to us, blah, blah, blah. Like it sure as hell does. And here's why. Like the buyer journey is the same. Like I'm showing it linearly here, but it's anything but linear. But there's like these phases, like no matter your business, the buyer is going to go through these phases. And if you can help them do it, you will benefit, right? And these things that can be on your website, so learning center, application pages, product pages, demo, understanding these and handling them reactively is just so much work. But that's what happens when you think you can get away with one person, adding it to their list of to-dos, right? Oh, let's set up this. Let's set up that. Oh, let's make a video for this. When in reality, you could do things like say, hey, our user manual could easily be turned into a set of videos. If we did that, now we have academy pages and learning center content that we could easily, share with customers. And now we're getting less calls in the customer service center. Right. And so that's the strategy behind, or that's the reason for building a strategy and why we need to actually build infrastructure to support. Before digital, you could just be the one that was always showing up at the trade show, was always showing up at the event, was the speaker at the event. And since that was the only time they got the information each year, you were the go-to. They would give you a call. But now they are doing that research. They're receiving that information. They have access to that information 24/7, 365. And if you're not there, then you cannot be the go-to resource. You cannot be the number one resource. You will have to be the one reminding them with outbound, sales calls or email blasts or whatever else you think works because it hits once or twice, instead of just being present online with helpful information, answering questions, engaging in the communities. For me, it's LinkedIn and it's Slack and it's HubSpot user groups. Could be something different for you, but understanding where your audience is online so you can participate in order to even have a chance at being the number one resource is huge. And you can't do that working out of spreadsheets. You can't do that without a well thought out website, without a plan. And if you can just understand that your product is now the customer experience and you put as much effort into building that and designing that you did your product and service, now you're 1,000 miles closer to having a chance at making it easy to do business with you and to be successful with you. HubSpot can take you most of those miles at the end of the day. And that's why I'm a big advocate of the platform. And that's why I build stuff in HubSpot. I know it is based in these concepts. And I know if I can use it to help people achieve these concepts and realize these things, then there's going to be a lot of happy people inside the company and the customers that they work with. So I challenge you as we move forward, as we think about, as we build stuff, right? We're not just building it because we can. We are looking for opportunities so we can grow. Most of them are right there in front of us, and we just have to listen and see the signals. Everybody have an awesome week. Really excited for Wednesday. HubSpot's Andy Petrie is going to be sharing some exciting news with HubSpot updates, HubSpot product updates. And I'll be rounding out the week with a results review after starting the monthly report process of this show yesterday. So everybody have an awesome week, and let's grow.